Welcome everybody to your 12th grade English Pathfinder. Today I'm just going to take you through a series of resources which hopefully will help you in your research. This Pathfinder was created to assist you in your final project for the course. Within the Pathfinder you will find instructions on how to access scholarly papers on the subject Women in Literature through a short lesson on how to utilize electronic databases for conducting your own research. This Pathfinder will teach you how to use EBSCOHost to find subject-specific literature. Also, there's information on research methods and how to conduct your own research, as well as a brief survey of several online locations holding information pertaining to your topic, and finally methods for citing your research and creating a bibliography. So we have the second tab here is about your final project. In this semester's literature course entitled Women in Literature, your 12th grade class has studied several female poets, fiction, and nonfiction writers. For your final project, you're being asked to write a 5-page research paper on the topic Women in Literature. The teacher has given you a general topic, but has left the direction of your research up to each of you. Your teacher is also requiring that you cite 5 outside sources in your paper, and that 2 of these sources be electronic, either from electronic databases or from trustable internet sites. You must cite sources both using in-text citations and by creating a works cited page at the end of your paper to trace the path of your research. The teacher is leaving the style choices up to you. You can use APA, MLA, Chicago Manual of Style. She doesn't prefer one over the other. She just asks that whichever style you choose, you remain consistent throughout the paper. Before we get into the EBSCOHost databases and how to utilize that tool, I would like to click on 21st Century Learning Standards, and here you'll find just a collection of standards which are sort of universal, and you can see that these standards directly have to do with the work you'll be doing. And so if you have questions about maybe what your teachers are looking for or asking for you or requiring of you, I think these will help guide you through that. And then there's also the English curriculum standards, which these are directly from the Green River High School that you attend. And so just take a look through these, and I think they'll give you a context with which to start your research and write your paper finally. Okay, without further ado, let's go to EBSCOHost. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the EBSCOHost mainframe. And so this interface is the same interface you'll see if you use any EBSCO product. EBSCO is the vendor, and as you can see here, the particular database is Academic Search Premier. And they own and control, have access to a plethora of databases, and you'll always get this interface. So if you become proficient at the interface, it makes doing research in the future much simpler. So there are 2 different types of searches. There's a basic search, which looks like this, and which functions more like a Google search bar, so it's probably familiar to you. And there's also an advanced search, which you can use through the use of these. They're called Boolean operators, and the most popular are and, or, and not. And or sort of increase the amount of hits that get returned to you. Not is going to limit them. So and the advanced search term gives you an interesting tool for contextualizing your research and getting really specific on details and writers and subjects that you're looking for. And before we go on to searching something specific, there are ways through EBSCOHost to expand or limit your searches. And so right here are different search modes. The Boolean phrase search is just simply a relationship between terms. And so when you put in 2 or more terms, it's going to give you back hits that are related to those terms in some way. Find all my search terms, find any of my search terms, and finally smart text searching. Smart text searching is fairly new to EBSCO, and it's sort of interesting. You can insert into the search bar lines, paragraphs, even whole pages of text, and EBSCOHost will search through the text trying to find specific information for you depending on what you put in. And then below that you can see the limit your results. Sorry, let me scroll down. So you can limit your results by full text, scholarly or peer-reviewed journals, or specific publications if you already know what you're looking for. And You can also, say you're looking for relevant new information, say you're writing science papers or something, you can have it search from year to year. You can put in, say, 2012 to 2014, and then all the results that you get back will be relevant to that time period. And so, as the subject of your research is women in literature, let's begin with that. Okay, and you could see from this search, we got back 10,642 hits. And the reason why I put in just women in literature is to show you that it's sort of like Google. If you put in something very vague, it's going to give you an immense amount of information back. And so, so that is a case in which, even using the same general search, we could probably pick, let's say, peer-reviewed journals only. And now you can see it dropped it from 10,000 to 8,000. And so just depending on which ways you want to increase or limit your searches, you can get more and more specific. The nice thing about EBSCO is that it allows you a lot of different ways to contextualize your research. So say we were just trying to maybe get a handle on search terms, maybe search subjects. Let's just click on one of these papers. And you will see here, EBSCO gives you a lot of subject terms and keyword terms. And so these are nice because, say when you're beginning your research, you can look through the subject terms list, which is right here, and you could try to limit your search through, or your research through, ideas that you'll garner from the subject terms list, as well as the keyword searches. So let's say we click on cultural politics. Now you can see it limited our search even further, because now we have a more specific search. And so it boiled our search down to 139 options now. And so let's take a look. So if we click on one of these papers, it gives you a PDF full text. And there are a lot of nice options that EBSCO provides here too in helping you with your research and helping you wade through an immense amount of information, such as this full text table of contents. So as you can see from our first search, we got back 10,000 hits. And you're not going to have the time to read through 10,000 papers, but there might be aspects of each paper or many papers that you want to look. So there's a full text table of contents here, and so this often helps you get to very specific information relevant to your own research in a much quicker and more efficient way. Also, something I'd like to show you is there are a bunch of options on this right hand panel. One of these is a citation tool. And so, like I mentioned earlier, your teacher is allowing you to use APA, MLA, Chicago Manual Style. And something nice about EBSCO is when you click this cite option, it gives you three different, and two of them relevant to you. It gives you three different citations. And so this is the citation exactly as it should look in your paper. If you choose APA, this is what your citation ought to look like. And so it's nice that EBSCO, and they also use Chicago, which is on your list. So it's nice that EBSCO gives you options and gives you specific information on this. I'm going to give you a brief walkthrough of a different site for citing your papers that gives you all the factual information you'll need for the specific forms of citation. Another nice thing about EBSCO is if you create an account, you can sign in here, and you have your folder here. And so during the course of your research, you can drop all these papers into your folder and have immediate access to them. So that's kind of a nice organizational tool. I just sort of briefly wanted to show you something relevant to your class and how this kind of looks when you are actually searching. So let's look women in literature. And you read Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye this semester, so I'm going to show you how subject specifics. If you click off this suggest search terms, subject terms, it's a much more efficient way to search, I think, especially when you're just familiarizing yourself with EBSCO. So now you could see that there are things specific. Here's a paper on the bluest eye. And so, yeah, just look through this, and this is a powerful research tool, and I've just touched on the very basics of it. Up here, I made a list of keywords and search terms, and so this is interesting, and you can look through this, and this is kind of what I just showed you in EBSCOHost, is they're going to give you back things like this, but I just wanted to give you a little list of things that might help you on your way. And also, I embedded a few YouTube videos. And so if you forget or don't remember or are having a difficult time with EBSCO, I've included these videos so that you could click on this video and it will play you a guide on what we just walked through, and that's the advanced searching. There is also a video on how to use academic search to complete a very specific database, which is available to you through your library page. So if you're interested in the way this worked, you do have access to this through your school library webpage. And then here is a video on EBSCO basic search. And if you are interested in tutorials, there's many of them on YouTube. Okay, and let's look next at internet resources. Okay, so I collected a few internet resources which might be useful to you. This first one is, it's a really nice site because based on our topic, it has an entire section on women American writers. And so what this site is doing is it's organizing other internet sites. And so this is organizing other internet American literature sites. And so I think this will be really useful to you, and it gives you access to a lot of resources and a lot of websites that maybe you don't know about. Next is Norton's Women in Literature. And Norton is a very trustable source, and that's kind of why I included it in here, very scholastic and academic. But there are a lot of things in here that you might find useful. There are tabs for blogs, full text articles, and then just all kinds of information. Next is Vito Web. And so this is another website, Women in Literary Arts. And this also has columns, and there's a bunch of papers in this left-hand column, and these are all tabs you could click on, including different information, but just log through them, we'll just wade through them and see if there's anything useful to you in there. And finally is Web English Teacher. And here's that. And this is a great site. There's all kinds of information in here. And I really wanted to show you this site because there's a lot of information for writing and researching research papers. And so there's things that I think will be really relevant to you: the art of paraphrasing, avoiding plagiarism. There's all kinds of media and literature papers and guides. There's study guides. Things on writing and vocabulary, basic steps in the research projects. This is just a fantastic site, and I think you'll find this one very useful. And lastly, I want to show you OWL at Purdue. So OWL at Purdue is a great resource for learning how to cite regardless of what form you're using. Here's this research and citation link. And once you connect to that, you can see there's all kinds of all the guides you'll need, namely the MLA guide and the APA guide. And when you click on the guide, it gives you And so this Owlet Produce site gives you everything you'll need in this research and citation to cite your papers. I hope this was useful.